And here we are with video number 2 of 3 of Zach Benson's run gait analysis, SwimBikeRun sports production. I am head coach Mike Finn. We're going to take a look at Zach's run from everyone's favorite side, the backside. Just a few things to note on the backside. Vantage point, we'll go to the middle here. So we want to look at heel strike, we want to look at lateral hip drop, and we want to continue to look at your arms and shoulders. The first thing we're going to look at is your foot strike. So we'll try and slow it down, just watch it take place. So as your foot hits the ground, what we want is we want a nice flat foot angle. You don't want to be rolling. You don't want to have the outside or inside of your heel hit first, and then your foot rolls or pronates and supinates to now be in complete contact with the ground as you go forward. So Zach, it looks like the outside of your heel on that one strikes the ground first, and then look at where your toe points on the ground. So now your toe is pointing to the left, your toe is pointing to the right, and so forth. So what we want to do, there's the outside of your heel, strikes first, your then foot rolls into mid-stance. We can see right about there's total compression. So let's see if we can't draw a line from midline. We'll stick with the yellow. So that line right there, we don't want either foot to be touching it at any point throughout the run. We want to imagine that you're running in the sand and you can see your footprints as you do a run. You should be able to take a straight line and run it directly between both sets of footprints on the right and left, and it never touches either set of footprints or slightly touches the big toe. We don't want that center line to be run across too often. This is accomplished with tight core, with a core strength and keeping your hips from dropping to one side or the other. So your hip abductors, your rectus abdominis, your obliques, your paraspinals, everything that keeps your body up top tight so that now your hip abductors have something strong to hold on to as they prevent your body from falling left or right. That being said, let's take a look at your hip drop. So your hip drop is how far does your opposite hip from the foot that's on the ground drop at maximum compression. Remember, this is the point when you're catching your body from gravity. So we'll see how clear we can make this. Hard to do with the shirt on, but I mean that's pretty much what's happening there. So your left hip falls as a result of only your right foot being on the ground as you're catching your body in the air. This also happens on the right side. So we'll see what happens here. Right, maximum knee compression, right about there. Looks like a little bit, in fact, you can almost see it in your shirt. You got just a little bit more on that side. So we correct this by strong core, strong glute med. We want to make sure we're not wasting too much energy catching the body on the way down. Exactly. So you have to take my word for it, but while I was watching you run, I counted your steps per minute. All the current literature states 180 steps per minute, 90 steps per foot means you are doing everything as perfectly as your body mechanics allow. Zach, you took exactly 178 steps in the 1 minute that I watched you. Now, that was just a single minute of the thousands of minutes of what you're going to run, but we're pretty consistent creatures, and I would put money on it that you don't deviate from that number too much. So how do we increase the number of steps you take? You don't do that by simply saying, I got to take quicker steps or shorter steps. We do that by improving the run mechanics that we've noted so far, and you'll watch. Your stride will get longer and your cadence will get higher. Those two things by math equations alone, you become faster. If you can take more steps and longer steps in the same amount of time, you're going to be faster. But that does require a little bit of mental cognizance as well as making sure you don't lose that efficiency in the other aspects of the run. So I really want you to watch this impact as you put on the inside. This is why I want your foot to not be pointing to the right here. Watch your ankle. Your ankle takes a huge pounding right there, especially the inside of the ankle. That one step isn't that big a deal, but you're going to take that step 50,000 times in a year. So that's what we want to do, is we want to avoid this jarring on the ankle joint right there. It appears to be more on the right. We noticed that too. Your hip drop was greater on that side too. So that's what we're looking for. Nice even step. You want your heel to strike. You want your heel to touch the ground first, to not impact the ground first. So you almost want mid-foot strike. And actually, Zach, we didn't talk about this. So before I tell you exactly how to do it, we can talk about this. But if you do wish to be a heel striker, then we need to make sure that heel strikes evenly. If you want to be a mid striker, then your heel can contact the ground first, but then we want most of the impact to go through the midfoot. And if it goes through the midfoot, we need to make sure that the ankle is not taking torque as a result of it. Actually, we need to do that anyway, but that's where it'll have the greatest impact. Let's take a look at your arms as they swing right to left. Watch your right arm and your left arm. You do a good... Now you're holding your phone in your right hand, so that could have an impact here, but watch your left arm. We can see your hand. Now we can't see your hand. So your hand goes from in front of you, or to the side of you, to in front of you. That's a left and right movement that is not incredibly powerful. It is something to keep in mind. Now your arms don't have to be like a choo-choo train, but the more front and back motion you can have, then the more efficient you will be in maintaining that A to B momentum that we spoke of in the last video. So you want to keep your elbows in, elbows tight, try and keep your hands close to your body. I recommend you over-exaggerate this motion a few times to see what it feels like, and then find where it is most efficient for you as you go forward. Let's get you back here, normal pace. You don't have a lot of up and down motion, which is really good. That's a result of you having a low compression angle in the knee. You do have very, very little hip drop, almost spot on. So you're not jumping up and down like a pogo stick as you run. You're maintaining very consistent forward motion with minimal vertical. I do want to try and reduce the left and right motion of the arms and see what we can't do to address how your foot strikes the ground. If just thinking about it isn't enough, you need more inserts. Just inserts are a very good way to just immediately correct it, and that way you can get used to it. Definitely something worth trying, especially as you go forward if you're trying to increase the number of miles that you're going to put in on a weekly basis. Zach, you're also a muscular guy. You've got not by any means excessive upper body weight, but you have enough muscle to carry that it creates at least something to consider, as you do have to catch all that body weight on the way down and continue to move forward. So that being said, tight core, really important. Keep your hips from dropping and reduce as much impact as possible on your feet and ankles to catch all that weight. Definitely something that is well within your scope of correction. So this is video 2 of 3. Anything I forgot, I'll mention in the next video. This is SwimBikeRun Sports Production. Head coach Mike Finn, on to video number 3.